Hello and welcome to the lecture on for loop. So we are in the control structures example 4 for loops. So we'll open the logical flow and the deliverable file. So we'll see how to write for loop, and for that we'll use as example we will print odd numbers from 1 to 10 and we will use a for loop, and we'll understand how to write a for loop and with different conditions. Okay, so we'll create this file for a loop, control N, control S. I'm going to create this file. So I'm going to show you the syntax of the for loop. So this is how the for loop look like. Okay, so for loop have three parts, 1, 2 and 3, separated with a semicolon. Okay, you have three parts separated with a semicolon. The first part is called as initialization part, wherein you initialize a variable, right? The second part is you write a condition. Till the condition is true, this loop will get executed. Then you have an increment section wherein you can increment your variable. Okay, so let's look at an example and write the example of printing the odd numbers from 1 to 10. Okay, so we'll do a sample 1. So this is a recommended way. Then we'll play around with the for condition to see what happens if you try to put some different conditions in the for loop. Okay, so we'll say for loop, open and close. Okay, the first section is initialization. So we'll say $value is equal to 1. So it's initialized only one time, means it is similar to as how you define it outside. Okay, you define it outside, but you don't have to do that for condition. You can actually define it here. The second one, so the second condition is basically the condition, right? So you are saying till what condition this loop has to be executed. So you're saying less than equal to 10. So you're saying, so till this condition is true, this loop will be executed. Okay, once it is false, this for loop will break and come out of it. So whenever the value is less than 10, it will execute the code. Okay, now the value is 1, so it will execute the code, and we can increment the value now. Okay, so that we get a loop of 10, and we can increment. So once you say plus plus, so this increment will happen every time the for loop start executing from starting. Okay, and we're gonna see this. So we're gonna say result $value modulus 2, and now you're gonna use if condition here. If the result is greater than 0, then we're gonna say odd number, then we'll say $value. Okay, so how this get executed? So first is the initialization. So here we are initializing a variable, then we are doing some condition, and this condition has to be true. Then we are incrementing the variable. So every time the variable gets the value 1, the next time the value will be 2, the next time will be 3rd, and so on. Okay, and every time it is incrementing, we are checking whether it is odd number or even number. Okay, if it's an odd number, we are printing that value. So let's execute this. So you can say 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. That's basically you are checking for the odd number. So all the odd numbers has been printed here. Okay, so let's do one more condition here. Let's play around with it, but remember that the recommended way is like this. But I'm going to show you some different iterations of doing the same thing, just to understand how the for loop will behave. So if what happens if you take the initialization outside and then you want to run the code. Okay, you can even do that. No problem in not specifying it. You can even do it outside. Okay, so I'll call it sample 2. Let's do a sample 3. Instead of post increment, we will do a pre increment. Okay, when you do a pre increment, you have to make it start from 0. So the first thing that execute is the pre increment, and then the value will become 1. Okay, you can play around with it. I'm just giving you different examples of how it has been used. Let's do a sample 4. And let's say if you take out all the conditions from the for loop, what will happen? if I take this out and I'm gonna put this somewhere in the last, and I'm gonna say 1, and it has no impact. So it's not necessary you have to put it increments here. You can put the increments in the last. You can take out the initialization on the bottom, but remember you have to mention the semicolons, so it knows whether this is a condition or this is an assignment or this is basically an increment. Okay, that's the condition for the for loop. You have to tell where is initialization, where is the condition, where is the increment. Okay, and let's do a last one. If you want to write an infinite loop, I'm not going to run this, but I'm going to show you an infinite loop. If you just say true here, okay, and you're gonna leave it like this, then it's gonna run forever. Okay, and this is an infinite loop. The reason behind this true never gets false, so it's just keep going into the loop. To break this out, say Control C, and then you break out of this loop. Okay, so this is a condition, so it's very important to understand how the for loop will work. I'm not gonna run this, I'm gonna comment this out. Okay, so I hope it's very clear how to write a for loop. Using for, you have in 3 different blocks. You have initialization block, condition, and then increment. Initialization, you initialize a variable value. Condition, you put a condition where if it's true, the for loop will get executed till this is true. And increment is a place where you increment the variables. Okay, and remember, only the condition has to be available in the for loop to execute. Rest of the things you can just keep it outside as well. The one that we have seen here, nothing is put inside the for loop, only the condition has to be there, right? Once the condition is true, this block of the code will be executed. Okay, so that's all the lecture about for loops. Then we'll move on to the next one.